Now, switching gears here, and tonight the family of Conrad Nyabuto, who was allegedly stabbed to death by his girlfriend in Roiro in Kiambu County, is seeking justice. The family claims despite glaring evidence linking the suspect to the killings, little is being done to have the suspect face the law. Let's get more from our very own Franklin Waller.
A somber mood at the home of the late Conrad Nyabuto in Nairobi Saika Estate.
And they went in a very painful way.
A devastated family is agonizing following the brutal killing of their kin.
It has been a trauma. It has. This thing has really taken a toll on us. It has not been easy. And it's not going to be easy because there is that gap which we are not going to fill forever.
This is a public service announcement. If you have been watching my videos and are watching this particular one too, and you haven't subscribed to my channel, shame on you. Kindly hit the subscribe button and share our videos. Thank you. Now, to today's case. The issue of domestic violence is a global phenomenon. It doesn't matter the continent you find yourself in. I'm sure you've seen it manifest in one way or the other. But largely, it's almost as though the moment such a word is mentioned, what mostly comes to mind is that the females are the victims. It's understandable because that's usually the case. But I tell you, there are also growing cases or a number of growing cases where the females are the aggressors. There are some dangerous female killers and murderers out there who are taking their pound of flesh and much more when they feel they've been treated badly or they can't stand something. And today's true crime case is coming from the Eastern African country of Kenya, and it's looking like we could be having an instance of such, although the court is yet to decide. But per the face of it, it involves one lady by name Salome Wanjiku Wainaina. Now, Salome Wanjiku Wainaina is accused of inflicting fatal wounds on her boyfriend 27 times. Yes, you heard me right. 27 times. I've done a video just some few weeks ago of a similar incident from South Africa where a lady also did the same thing to her husband 30 times. That proves my case, in addition to several other ones you'd find on my channel. And guess what? After doing all that, allegedly, she still remained at large for a very long time. And this created public outrage, because one would expect that after Salome Wanjiku Wainaina had done this to her boyfriend called Conrad, the authorities would have swooped in to initiate the dispensation of justice by first arresting her and then commencing with investigations. Sorry, but it turns out that was not the case. And the case is still ongoing actually. And allegedly it turned out that was not the case because allegedly Salome Wanjiku Wainaina is allegedly having some relatives who are having political connections. So it seemed like some of them were trying to use their political connections to frustrate the efforts of the law. And this is where I think it becomes problematic, because the question is, why should the law be applied any different from any other person when the crimes are the same? If it was the other way around, if the gentleman had allegedly done that to Salome, I'm sure it would have been a different outcome. This guy would have been picked up in the blink of an eye, and all those alleged political connections would have been making sure it's influencing the fast tracking of the case. So why is it that it's the other way around, if that was the case? And when this started going on, it sparked a lot of outrage, because The story has it that it was actually Salome Wanjiku who invited Conrad over for them to talk about challenges that they were facing in their relationship. And when Conrad went to her house, he never returned. Just that Conrad had actually told his parents that he was going to see his girlfriend. They were going to talk about some challenges they are facing because they knew Salome. The parents of Conrad knew this girl, that she was their son's girlfriend. So it was an official thing. And so when Conrad told them that he was going there, it wasn't really a big deal. He's the third born in the family of 5. So it was a normal thing. A decent son telling his parents he's going to see his girlfriend who they know. It was cool. But little did they know that that was the last time they were going to see him alive, because not only did Salome stab him, she did it 27 times. And I am no expert, but I know that when it's to that extent, it's very personal. That is somebody trying to let something out. So after all this, and it seemed like her political connections were protecting her, there was outrage all over, and social media and friends of Conrad did so well by pushing this case through all mediums and increasing the level of pressure that seemed to now be able to balance out the alleged political influence that was trying to also dissuade the efforts of the police. And I think it goes to show the power of social media in these times, because this case is just some few months old and is still evolving. And based off of that pressure, Salome Wanjiku Wainaina was then arrested and also arraigned before court.
A middle-aged woman, Salome Wanjiku, accused of stabbing her boyfriend, Conrad Nyabuto, 27 times to death, failed to take her plea at the Thika Law Courts. The defense team informed the court that Wanjiku was unwell and required medical attention. Wanjiku, who had bandages on her hand, indicated that a medical procedure was scheduled for yesterday but had not yet been completed.
And this is where the whole thing begins to get interesting, because when Salome came to court, a different thing was now playing out. She had bandages on her hands, so the court proceedings couldn't really happen. It couldn't really happen. And when you look at what Salome has done to Conrad, it also begs the question, what happened? What happened? What led to this? Because it's very important. Yes, she has done the crime, but what was the motive? What was the reason? What sparked this incident? That has still not yet been established. And when it comes out like this, for people like you and I, mostly all we have is what the media would say and maybe what the police would officially come out to say. But sometimes, between these two people, there are things that happen that nobody knew. And if Salome decides to keep quiet, Conrad is not alive to speak up. So the narrative could change, especially in the line of all these alleged political influences in favor of the suspected killer, Salome Wanjiku Wainaina. Sorry. And if it begins to go that way, I wouldn't be surprised we begin to hear something along the lines of maybe Conrad was trying to be aggressive on her, and then Salome did what she did, trying to defend herself. And that is when I tell people that go and read the law. I don't know the law of their country, but in some jurisdictions, when you are trying to plead self-defense for what you've done, self-defense is defined by the law. And in some jurisdictions, their laws define self-defense that it's the act you have committed will be determined as a self-defense if what you did is commensurate to what was being attempted to be done to you. So, assuming somebody maybe was trying to get physical with you, you don't use a knife to stab the person 27 times and say it was self-defense. That's an overkill, literally. So I'm waiting to see how this case will go because of what Salome came to court with, the bandages and all. The proceeding couldn't really fly. So it's been rescheduled. And I hope that it's not going to be a ploy that is just to drag the whole thing. I don't know if she's genuinely injured as to why she had those medical bandages, but I'm expecting that the court will do all this due diligence. And I know it's a very competent court of a competent jurisdiction. They will do all their checks. And I don't expect the politics would be able to influence it if the allegations are true. But it comes back to the fact that things are getting tensions in these times when it comes to relationships. And I think one of the key reasons, I don't know what caused this incident between the two of them, Conrad and Salome. I'm just speaking in a general context as to certain root causes I've seen manifest in most of the true crime cases I've covered involving crimes of passion. Mostly it has to do with the fact that one person in the relationship thinks they can take the other person for a ride. And then the other person also takes an action that shows the other person that I will not take this from you. Just that the action also goes overboard. And it's easy to advise that, oh, if somebody does this, just do this. It's always easy to say it. But sometimes in the thick of these things, emotional intelligence goes out the window. It's always easy to refer somebody to emotional intelligence when you don't have to resort to it. But it's also not to make an excuse for the aggressors, but just to say that the safest ground is to respect each other's emotions. You should understand that by virtue of being in a relationship with someone, you are in a unique position to hurt the person. Yes, you are in a very unique position to either hurt the person or affect the person positively with your actions. So you should be well guided by this realization and ensure that you are being right by the person. I think that's where it all starts from. Because if you are always thinking that, oh, even if I do this, nothing should happen, that is the truth. But that is not the fact. Because people react to things in different ways. So if you are wise, please don't live your life going about doing things to people that puts you in a very unenviable position of waiting to find out how people react to the things they hate. You may not survive it. I digress. Subscribe to my channel, and share the video if you are yet to do so. I'll catch you on the next one. Stay safe out there.